Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today what we're going to be talking about is how to create riffs or tabs for songs, or how to freestyle over someone that's already playing, or just to create your own tabs to play over covers that you play, to put your own stamp onto the song itself. So there are a few things we have to cover first, and it does involve music theory. Now if you learn guitar the same way I did, just by playing songs over and over, you'll probably have to watch this video a couple of times for it to make sense. But it will be worth it. Now if you already know music theory, if you're doing it in school or if you have done it before, you'll probably grasp this a lot faster, and you'll be able to skip right to the end and learn how we apply this theory practically into a song. So as always, I'm going to leave timestamps in the description. You can skip ahead to the part you want to learn. If you are completely new to this and you don't know anything about it, then watch the whole video and then go back through the timestamps to rewatch the parts you weren't too familiar on. So what we're going to do is cover the theory first, and then how the theory applies to keys and what are keys, and then how we can create riffs to play in songs. So first, the theory. Now in music, no matter what instrument you do, there are only 12 notes. They are the first 7 letters of your alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all of them have a sharp except for B and E. So we have A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G and G sharp. They're your 12 notes of music. You need to know them off by heart. They are your bread and butter. You need to know those. Your guitar is basically like a piano. Every box has a different note. Every string has a different note. So you have, given on any guitar, on average you have about 120 different notes on your guitar. So just like a piano, just sideways, and you strum it. Now, so we have those 12 notes of music. What is a key? So when people reference keys, they're talking about what notes you're allowed to play with the song, or what chords you're allowed to play with the song to make it sound in a certain tone. So if you're, for example, in the key of C, you're only allowed to use A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No sharps, just A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The chords you're allowed to use are A minor, F, C and G. So you're going to strum those chords with a few additional chords, and you're only going to be allowed to play those notes with the song. And they're the notes we are going to play and learn for riffing over a song or freestyling over a song. So we need to learn where all the notes are on the guitar, what notes are in the keys, and how they work in the song. So back to it. So a key, as I said, is just a tone that's made up of 7 notes. Now each key is different because there's 7 different notes in each key. But like I said, there's only 12 notes in music, so each key has to be made up of some sort of variation of those 12 original notes. So we'll start off, we have the key of C. That's the first one we're starting off with, because that has no sharps at all. So the notes we use in the key of C are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 7 letters, easy. Now the next key we're going to use is G. That has 1 sharp. Now to find a sharp in a key, all you do is go back 1 letter from the name of the key and make that sharp. So in the key of G, the sharp is going to be F, because you go back from G and it's F, so it's F sharp. So now in the key of G, you're allowed to play A, B, C, D, E, F sharp and G. Then we move into the key of D. Now we keep that F sharp and we have to make another 1 sharp. So we're in the key of D, so you probably guessed the sharp is going to be C. So it's A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp and G. And so on, so on. So the order I do it in is C, G, D, A, E, B and F. And that's, the rhyme I use is can go do anything else but fade. And that's just to help me remember the order, because that goes from 0 sharps right up to 6 sharps. So we have C with no sharps, G with 1 sharp, that's the F, D with 2 sharps, the C and the F, and then you have your A with the 3 sharps, because A goes back 1, so G sharp, F sharp and C sharp. But they all have the A, B, C, D, F, G, it's just you're making some of them sharp and some stay the same. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to stick to the first 3. So I'm sticking with the C, the G and the D. And the reason why is because they have a lot of similarities between them, and they work well with pentatonic scales as well as regular scales. Now, pentatonic scales. Like I said, each key is made up of 7 notes. A pentatonic scale is made up of 5. So that's why pentatonic scales work well when you're working between 2 keys or 3 keys, because you can pick the notes that are similar between those keys and play those riffs. So you could create a riff in the key of C that would sound good in the key of G as well, because you're only using the notes that are the same. Because as you remember, the only difference between the key of C and the key of G is that F sharp note. So, let's cover some of the chords that you see in those first 3 keys. So I'm only covering C, G and D. In the key of C, your chords are A minor, F, C and G. In the key of G, your chords are G, D, E minor, C. And in the chord of D, your chords are D, A, B minor and G. So they are the main keys we're going to be working with today. I will go more in depth in a later video, and I'll try and break this up and spread it out between multiple videos, just so I'm not cramming your heads full of information. So we'll just go back and recap what we did. There's 12 notes of music: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, plus their sharps. They all have sharps except for B and E. A key is just made up of 7 notes, and it has to be different for each key. So the name of the key tells you what notes you're allowed to use. The keys we're using today are C, G and D. C doesn't have any sharps. G has 1 and it's F sharp. D has 2, it's F sharp and C sharp. Why? Because you go back 1 from the name of the key, and that's your sharp in that key. What are the chords for those keys? In the key of C, A minor, F, C, G. In the key of G, G, D, E minor, C. And in the key of D, B minor, A, G and D. That's what we've covered so far. So again, if you need to recap, go back, rewatch, just until it starts to sink in. It does take time for this information to sink in. And also, why do you need it? If you don't know why you need something, your brain will just get rid of that information. You need to know what the purpose of that information is for your brain to actually use it and know what it's for. And then it will retain it for longer, and you'll be able to use it at the right time, so you'll remember it at the right times, and you'll be able to apply it then later, and you'll pick this up quicker. So always ask those questions: why do I need to know this, and what is it for? 2 questions. If you can't answer those, then you don't know really what you're doing. So hopefully I can cover that in this video, why and what. So we've covered the little bit of theory. Let's get into some of the practical work now. So I said we're going to start with the pentatonic scales, the 5-note scales. The reason is because in the key of C, D and G, there's 5 notes that are common between the 3 keys. You have A, B, D, E and G. They are 5 notes in the key of C, G and D that are all the same. So we just need to find where those are on the guitar, and if someone's playing a song in either of those keys, either of those 3 keys, you can actually use the pentatonic scales just to play over it with a simple basic 5-note melody. Okay, so on the guitar, you should know the tune of your guitar. The top string is called E, next one A, next one D, G, B and little e at the bottom. So they are the names of your strings, but they're also notes themselves. That top string, that's an E note. It's not just the name of the string, that's an E note. So if we cover 12 notes of music, that first box is F, second box F sharp, third box G, fourth box G sharp, fifth box A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and box 12 is back to E again. And that's the same on every string. If you start on your A, box 1 then is A sharp, box 2 B, box 3 is C because B doesn't have a sharp, box 4 C sharp, box 5 D, box 6 D sharp, box 7 E, the whole way along. Every string, every box, different notes. You need to learn those 12 notes of music if you want to know where those notes are off the top of your head. Now, we don't have all day to find where those notes are. That's what scales are for. Scales are the quick cheat to finding where those notes are without thinking about it too hard. So I'm going to show you 5 shapes on the guitar for these pentatonics, and then I'm going to show you the actual scales and the 5 shapes as well where all these notes are found. So we start off with the pentatonic. The first shape is up here, and the notes are the 5 common notes. So we have E, G, A, B, D. The rhyme I use is every girl and boy dance. That's it. So I'm looking for those notes. Every girl and boy dance. E, G, A, B, D. So the first E, found them. 0. Then we need G. So if we go through our notes of music, F, F sharp, G. So that's going to be 3 on top. So we need E, G. So that's open. And then number 3 on top. E, G. Then we have the next string, which is A. Because that's E, G, A. Every girl and. So we need boy next. So B. And that is the A string box 2, because A box 1 is A sharp, A box 2 is B. And then we need dance, D. So that's the last of the 5 notes in the pentatonic, which is just the D string itself, D. So that's E, G, A, B, D. Easy. Then we have to find them again. So on the D string, if you go box 1, that's D sharp, box 2, that's E. So there's another E. Notes repeat themselves over and over again, just in higher octaves. So when you hear people talking about octaves and ranges, that's what they're talking about. You have the same notes, just some are in a higher frequency and some are in a lower bassier frequency. So we have that E on the D string. After E, every girl. So we need G, which is the G string, and, which is A. So G, G sharp in box 1, A in box 2. Boy, B string. Dance, so that's the B string, so box 1 is C, box 2 C sharp, box 3 is D. And then the bottom string and top string are the same, so we already found that 0 is E and 3 is G, so the top and bottom, 0, 3. So that first scale is 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 3. Every girl and boy dance, every girl and boy dance, every girl. It's not just important to learn how to play these scales, it's also important to know what notes you're actually playing for them. The reason being is if you have to change one of the notes, you don't want to have to go back and relearn all this stuff just to change that one note. You want to have it in your head fresh. So if you even say that rhyme, every girl and boy dance, every girl and boy dance, every girl, no matter where you stop, you'll know what note you are. So it's every girl and boy, B note. Dance, every girl and A note. So I know if I have to change an A note to an A sharp for a song, all I have to do is change that one note. I don't have to go looking for the notes. The A is there, I can change it to A sharp. So don't just learn the numbers on the tabs and do them as exercises. You need to learn the knowledge that goes along with them, otherwise you won't know how to use them, what they're for, and why you need them. So we do need to learn this so that you can change notes on a whim later on. So if one song is in the key of C and you're playing it that way, but then another key is in the key of F and you need to change some of the notes, you'll know which notes you need to change and where they are on the guitar, rather than starting from scratch all over again and having to learn new scales and loads of scales. You just want to learn 1 or 2 scales and all the knowledge that applies with it, and then change it in your head. And that's how it works with songs. That's the best way. Learn a couple of scales and change the scales in your head, rather than just learning scale after scale after scale after scale. So that was the first shape in the pentatonic. That was just down here. The next one is going to be starting on the G. So all we're doing is going through the 5 notes in the pentatonic. So we did the E, now we're looking for the one starting in the G. So that's going to be... So that is 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 3, 5. The notes are the same, they repeat in the same order, just starting on G. So we skip the every, so we're starting on girl and boy dance. Every girl and boy dance. Every girl and. That's it, they're your notes. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining it. We did a lot of explaining on the first one. We're just going to go through the 5 shapes. The third shape now. So we did E, G, the next one has to start on an A. So what we do is we go to the top string and we find our A. So that's E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. A is box number 5, so that's why we're starting on 5. He's the A. What comes after A? We have those 5 notes. A, B. So it's A, B. Every girl and boy dance. Every girl and boy dance. Every girl. So I'm saying that rhyme over and over again because it helps me remember what notes I'm playing, where they are, instead of just droning on with the notes going E, A, da, da, da. So I say a rhyme, it helps me remember, and that way I won't forget where I am and what I'm playing. I can stop on any note and I'll know what note I'm on. So I can go and girl dance, there's D. every girl and boy. Dance, every girl and, that's an A, boy, B. So it's easy to follow along and know where you are. That's the third shape. The fourth shape, then we are starting on the B. So that is 7 on the top string. So it goes 7, 10, because it's B to D. So you're skipping the C and C sharp. So B to D. The next one's 7, 10 as well. So that was E to G, E, G, and then A, B, D, D, E, and G, and then your A, B, D. So you're starting on the B, boy, dance, every girl and boy, dance, every girl and boy, dance. So these tabs are popping up here on the side and you're playing along. Just remember to say the notes with them, not just practice the scales and the tabs. Why are we learning this? Always come back to why are you learning this? So you can freestyle over someone playing in the key of C, G or D. They're going to be strumming, playing their notes and singing along. You want to be able to just pick up the guitar and know what notes you're allowed to play with them. So whether they're playing in the key of C, G or D, all of these notes sound very nice with those keys. So you can hit any of the notes we're playing in these scales and it'll sound like it belongs in that song. All you have to do is master these tabs and play them with fluency and it'll sound like part of the song. Okay, fifth and final pentatonic scale starts in D. So we're starting on the 10th on the top. So it always finishes on 12 now on the pentatonic because we are coming back to our 0. On the first scale it all started on 0. If you go 12 ahead of all the notes, it's a full octave above. So each one of these, if it goes E, A, D, G, B, E, then box 12 is also E, A, D, G, B, E. Just an octave higher, a full range higher. So it started on 0, 0, 0, 0, it has to finish on 12, 12, 12, 12. So the starting numbers are different, but it always goes to 12. So it's going to be 10, 12, 10, 12, 9, 12, 9, 12, 10, 12, and 10, 12. Okay, and they were your notes starting in D. So dance, every girl and boy, dance, every girl and boy, dance. Done. They are your 5 shapes on the pentatonic. Why do you need to know your pentatonic? These are questions you have to keep coming back to. Why are we learning pentatonic scales? Because they have the same 5 notes in the key of C, in the key of G and key of D. What are those notes? E, G, A, B and D. That's why we've been going over them. So the key of C has those notes plus 2 extras because each key is made up of 7 notes, which we covered in the first section. The 5 notes that we're using, every girl and boy dance, are also in the key of G and the key of D. We just left out the 2 notes that are different between those 3 keys. So these pentatonic scales, penta means 5 like pentagon, so these 5 note scales are made up of the 5 common notes between the key of C, G and D. Why are we learning those? So that you can freestyle using any of these notes over someone that's playing a song in a key of G, D or C. So just mess around with that first scale, become fluid with it, be able to play it forwards and backwards. Just practicing it forwards, backwards, same with all of them. So just practice forwards, backwards on all of those scales so you can become fluid with them, and then when someone's playing a song you can freestyle over them using any of those scales. Whether they're in the key of C, G or D, you will sound like you're a professional who's been mastered the guitar for years and you're just a genius with the guitar creating these riffs out of nowhere that sound good with the song. Now obviously practice will do good. Practice will do you good. So when you're practicing you'll find notes that work well together and you can throw them in then through different songs and it'll be the same melody that you've practiced at home but it'll sound like it belongs in each of those songs. Plus it gives that little repetition in the back of the head of the listener that they become familiar with. So even though it's a new song, they like the familiarity between them. That's why 4-chord songs are big hits, because people, even though it's new, it sounds similar to what they've been listening to. So if you have that one good little riff, not too long, just a short little riff, that you practiced at home, you can throw it into multiple songs and people will start to enjoy it more because they're more relaxed because it's something they've heard before and it's been thrown in. Now, not too much. I hate the person who just creates one riff and throws it in everywhere. That's just bad guitar playing. So you need to find that right spot where it's not too much but it's enough to make people really hear you and for you to stick out in the crowd. Or you can just do it once off and show off. Just create a really long riff using those pentatonic scales and show off a freestyle over a song. Just make it your own. So that was a pentatonic. Now what we're going to do is cover each key individually. So scales are for each individual key. So we can't learn a scale that works well between the key of C, G and D. That's what pentatonics are for. The scales themselves only work for each key. So we're going to have to learn a full scale for C, a full scale for G and full scale for D and so on for each of them. But these three keys are so similar. I'm going to show you one scale and then I'm going to show you how to manipulate that scale so that you can play it for C and D. The scale we're going to do is the G scale. Now the notes we need for the G scale are the same as what we did before, the every girl and boy dance. We just need to add in an F sharp and a C. Why an F sharp? Because if you go back to the first part of this lesson, I told you what notes are in each key and how to find what notes are sharp in that key. In G, it has one sharp. All you do is go back one from the name of the key, G, so go back to F, and that's going to be your sharp. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. But I'm going to stay with the same rhyme I did before, every girl and boy dance. So every flipping girl and boy can dance. That's what I use. Every flipping girl and boy can dance. So the F is going to be sharp. Now we just need to find where those notes are on the guitar and how to manipulate them. So let's start with where they are. I'm going to show you the 5 different shapes of where they are on the guitar. Right, so we have our first shape, which is very similar to the pentatonics. We're just adding in those 2 extra notes. So it's still going to be have all the same notes as the pentatonic. So 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 3. But we have to add in 1 or 2 extra notes. On the top line, we're adding in that F sharp. So instead of 0, 3, 0, 2, 3. Because we have to add in the F sharp. E, F, skip F, go into F sharp, and G. Then the next line, it's A, B, C. So it's A, B, we knew where they are from the pentatonic. Just add in that C. B doesn't have a sharp, so just box 3. And that's your C. So it's E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. D, E, F sharp is your next one. So D is the string, E is box 2, F sharp is box 4. The next one is G and A. Next one is B, C and D. So it's just 0, 1, 3. Because remember, B doesn't have a sharp, so it goes straight from B into C. So B into C is box 1 and D is box 3. And then the bottom string is the same as the top string, E, F sharp, G, 0, 2, 3. And that is your first G scale. I'm going to cover the 5 shapes and then I'll go back and show you how to change it into a C scale or how to change it into a D scale. So they are your 5. What are the notes? E, F sharp, G, A, B, C and D. Why are we starting on E? Because that is the first note we play. It's easy just to learn it that way. Plus our rhyme starts on E. Every flipping girl and boy can dance. Right, next scale starts on your G. So G is box 5. So we're starting on that G, so 3, 5, 3, 5. G is 3, 5 is A. So G, A. Then next it's B, C and D. So we're 2, 3, 5. B, C, because there's no sharp, no box in between them. B, C and D. E, F sharp and G. So 2, 4, 5. E, F sharp. So you skip the F and go into F sharp and G. Next one is your A, B and C, A, B, C, so that's 2, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, so D is your third box, D, E, F, we need F sharp though, so because F sharp is in box 7, what I'm going to do is use the F sharp down on the bottom string. So on the B string I'm only going to hit 2 notes, the 3 and the 5, and then on the bottom string I hit 2, 3, 5. So then I'm still within my range and not overstretching, because what you want to do is you want to keep everything within certain boxes. You don't want to be reaching from box 2 up to box 7. It's just too much of a stretch with your fingers. You want to keep them within a close cluster of one another. So I usually stick to 4, maybe 5 boxes. So if it's in 2, the furthest I'd go is 6. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I try and keep it within that range. So we started off, that was 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 3, 5, and then 2, 3, 5 on the bottom. And they were all your notes. Third shape starts on the A, which is the 5th box on top. A, B, and C. So 5, 7, 8. So A, B, C, D, E. Now F sharp, instead of F there or F sharp on 7, we go down to number 4 here. And that's your F sharp. F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. And these scales are going to pop up beside me. I'm just calling out the notes so we can quickly go through these 5 different shapes. Now, why do you need to know 5 different shapes? Just so you can freestyle along the whole neck and you're not limited just to this top area. These are the same notes, just in different places. So if I was to play this E on the bottom string, that's the same as this E here. Same as this E here. As you can hear, it gets bassier as we go up, but still the same note. So I'm just showing you where these notes are on different places on the guitar, so you're not limited just to playing up here. You can play all over and you know where the notes are. So on to the 4th shape. We are starting on 7, and that is your B. So 7, B, C, D. 7, 8, 10. B, C, D. B, C, D. E is 7 again. E, F sharp is 9, 10. So 7, 9, 10. Then that was E, F sharp, G. Then we need A, B, C, D, E, F sharp then. So what I do is I go down. So I go down to the next one, because if I was to go there, I'd have to go into box 11, which I don't want to do. I want to stick to my rule and try and keep it within the confines of the playing. So that's 7, 8, 10 on the next one, and then to finish it off 7, 8, 10. So 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10. And that is your 4th shape. Let's move on to the 5th and final shape, starting on that D. So the 5th and final pentatonic scale is starting on that 10. It goes 10, 12 for your D, E. The next one is F sharp, G, A. So that's 9, 10 and 12. Then we have 9, 10, 12 again. 9, 11, 12. Then just 10, 12 and 10, 12, 14 if you want to finish that as well. Oh, and we forgot the C, so it's 13 there as well on the B string. So that goes 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 9, 11, 12, 10, 12, 13, and then 10, 12, and 14 on the bottom for that F sharp. Okay, they are the 5 shapes we need for the key of G. So if anyone's playing a song in the key G, the chords are G, D, E minor, C. They're the common chords in the key of G. You can use any of these notes to create a riff for it or freestyle over, or even if you're having trouble finding the melody for that song. So if you're playing a song like Zombie, E minor, C, G, and F, and D, the riff goes. Right, so that's the riff, and that's using all the notes from that key of G. So I didn't actually look up the tab for that song, I found it out through using these scales. And by doing that I can then elaborate on it. So I don't have to stick to the normal pattern that they play. I can change it. And you can make it more elaborate. The more you practice, the better they sound. So you can just mess around with them, find what sounds nice with you. When you have the song playing in the background, that's another thing I'd suggest. Play a little loop and have that playing in the background and then freestyle over it. It gives you great practice. If you have someone with you, if there's two people playing together, get one to play the same chords over and over again and just play along, see if you can find something nice. You'll get in the rhythm of it then, and you'll be able to play smoother and create nicer riffs. It's very hard to just think of it on the spot when you don't have the melody to listen to. So play the melody on the chords and then try and freestyle over it, and then you'll create great little tabs and riffs to go over. Now that was the key of G. How do we play for songs for the key of C or the key of D? What we do is we just change the note that's different. So in the key of G we used A, B, C, D, E, F sharp and G. If we want to change this whole, all these tabs to the key of C, all we do is make the F sharp an F. That's it. So that's why I said say the rhyme through all the notes so you don't have to go looking for the notes. Every flipping girl and boy can dance. So you're looking for that F, and instead of a sharp you go back one box to an F. So if I use the first tab as an example, the G scale was 0, 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 0, 2, 4, 0, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 2, 3 because it had an F sharp. Now if I was changed the F sharp to an F, the top line would be 0, 1, 3. Because F sharp is in box 2, F is in box 1. So 0, 1 and 3. Then the next line is 0, 2, 3. Next line 0, 2, 3, not 0, 2, 4, because again that F sharp goes back to a normal F, 0, 2, 3. 0, 2, 0, 1, 3, and bottom string same as the top, 0, 1, 3. And that is what you can play over C scale. So find all the F sharps you've done in your G scale, change them to Fs, now you have your C scales. Easy as that. So now we have C and G done. Let's go back and do the G scale. It was every flipping girl and boy can dance. Fs were sharp, so that was 0, 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 0, 2, 4, 0, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 2, 3. The reason I go back to G is because that's the middleman. You need to come back to that center if you're going to go into the key of D. So what's the difference between the key of G and the key of D? C sharp. So all the C's that were normal in this scale have to become sharp now. So the F sharps stay where they are, but now the C's go into C sharp. So all they do is go forward a box. So we have 0, 2, 3, which was your E, F sharp, G. Then it's A, B, C. But it's A, B, and instead of box 3 for C, we go box 4 for C sharp. Next one, we keep F sharp, so it's D, E, F sharp in box 4, G, A, B. Now instead of 1 for C, it goes box 2 for C sharp. Box 3 for D. And then the very bottom one, same as the top, 0, 2, 3. So, there you have all the scales. All you do is go through your 5 shapes, change all the C's to C sharps, and you have the key of D. Done. So what we've covered today was the theory for your notes of music. What is a key, what's in a key, and how to make up a key. What's the difference between the keys, what chords are in the keys, and how much sharps each key has. Now this was a beginner tutorial, so we did only cover 3 of the keys in depth. Then we covered pentatonic scales. What were they, what are they used for? Pentatonic scales are made up of 5 notes instead of 7, that's why they're pentatonic. Penta like pentagon, 5-sided, tonic like tone, 5-toned scales, 5 notes. And we did one that had the same notes as the key of C, G and D. It used your every girl and boy dance, which stayed the same in the key of C, G and D. So your pentatonic scale works for any of those keys. Then what we did was we covered each of those keys individually and covered the scale. So we started with G scale, we learned the 5 different shapes, and the G scale is E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. And then we learned how to change them. So instead, if a song's in the key of C, all you do is change your F sharp to F. So you go back one box in that scale for all of your shapes, and there you have your C scale. If you're going from G into D, so if someone's playing a D scale, or they're playing in the key of D, all we need to do is go back into your G scale, where it was A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and change the C's from C natural to C sharp. So it's going to be A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp and G. And now we know where all those notes are on the guitar because of the scales. The scales are just a cheat on how to learn where those notes are quickly. So don't just learn your scales for the sake of learning them. I usually teach it to more intermediate players because I teach them this theory at the same time. So there's no point just learning scales for the sake of them. If you don't know what they're for, it's useless information. It will give you some practical skills and help your dexterity and movement with your hand, but other than that, it's not going to teach you a whole lot. What you need to do is learn the knowledge that goes along with it. So with these scales, you can freestyle over a song. So I'm going to do a quick demo here at the end of the video. I'm just going to do maybe a Zombie, and I'm just going to freestyle a riff over it using a G scale. So we've done our shapes on the G scale. I'm just going to play the 4 chords over and over again from Zombie, and I'm just going to freestyle a riff from it just in time. So let's see how it goes. So guys, as you can see, I just had the 4 chords from Zombie playing over and over and over again, and then I used my knowledge of the G scale to create something over it that makes the song now my own. So whether the singer needs a break for a second, or I just want to show off a bit, or I want to elaborate on the song or put my own stamp on it, I can take time and create that solo and throw that into the song, either in the bridge part or at the end, to make it my own, rather than just covering and copying someone. A cover, you want it to be unique and your own version of that song. So if you were to write that song, what would it sound like? You don't want to just copy, because then it's a copy. It's not a cover. A cover is your version of that song. If you were the artist that wrote that song, what would it sound like? So with this knowledge, if a song's in the key of C, G or D, you can actually start to change the melody, add extra notes, change the style of the song as well. Use different pedals to throw in different tones and sounds. See what you come up with. Okay, but guys, that is it for me here today. I hope you understood everything I talked about. If not, go back to those timestamps and see the different bits of information that we have. If there's anything you're unsure of, write me a comment underneath, let me know, and I'll add it into the next video I do. I'll be releasing it in a few weeks. I want people to have time to kind of digest this first and get better at it. But if you liked it, like it, subscribe if you want to see more videos. And guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.